case everything goes wrong. All right, I will do it on share screen. Hopefully everybody can see that. All right. Okay, everyone can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so just an introduction in terms of what this is all about. So it's sort of cool to soul. So I'm doing a series of webinars and then ending with a challenge starting 17th of April. So this is the first part 1, marketing, and then 2 weeks. Hence there'll be part 2, which will be selling. So there'll be, and then after that will be the 17th of April will be the challenge, whereby we're taking all of what I'm talking about here, and we're actually going to do it on day-by-day basis to get you the first high ticket sale at day 5. I'm kind of committed to sort of making sure, you know, this is of value to people who kind of turn up and kind of do the challenge. They get, you know, that they're actually getting value from it. So this is one of 2 webinars. 17th of April will be the challenge, and after this there'll be a link to the challenge below this webinar for people who haven't signed up already. But anyway, today is more about the marketing, and I love marketing. It's kind of my favorite part of this whole process, because marketing is where a lot of people go wrong. It's kind of that first stage of actually understanding their business and kind of getting the legs on their business in terms of getting traction. And if this isn't right, you know, selling is going to be very much more difficult later on. So I'll get on with it. So who am I? So just a brief in terms of who I am. I started online in 2018. Started with paid marketing on YouTube, which was probably in reflection was a bit of a mistake. I should have started with organic marketing, and I would advise anybody starting in their online journey to start with organic rather than paid marketing. But I did it back to front. And then I've been down many rabbit holes, kind of websites, marketing agency, funnels. I was building funnels at one point. And then in 2021, changed to organic marketing and never really look back. Kind of then, you know, building a one-on-one coaching program, which Jane on the call is a participant. So I like working with people who kind of want to make a difference in other people's lives. Transformational coaches, impact coaches who kind of, you know, want to get their message out there. And you know, that's what we're going to talk about today in terms of that marketing piece. If anybody has any questions during this, please feel free to put into the chat, and I'll endeavor to ask them. So what you'll learn today is identify your ideal customer and creating your high ticket offer. So this is the fundamentals of your business. If this isn't right, nothing else works, because you're not clear on who you're serving, you're not clear on how you're going to help them. So yeah, it's fundamental to your business. And then marketing using Facebook. Now I'm focusing on Facebook because that's the platform I'm most familiar with. That's the platform I would advise anybody starting out their coaching journey to focus on. You can go to kind of other platforms after that, but don't go omnipresent straight away. I would not advise anybody to do so. A bit of YouTube, a bit of Facebook, a bit of TikTok, because you're just doing a bit of everything. Go deep on one platform, understand it, and, you know, get some traction on a platform before branching out to other platforms. And then just an introduction to the end and using a non-salesy process. So that's kind of a sneak peek in terms of part 2 of this. This will be on the sales parts of it. So this is kind of more the marketing. So just a overall statement, and this is kind of the statement when I first started my my coaching business journey, is marketing to everybody's marketing to no one. So I'm sure people on this call are familiar with that sentiment. is, there's a cartoon there, so we're the big player and no one knows what it is, but everybody thinks they needed space. So everybody, I say it so often whereby kind of everybody is putting it out there everywhere in terms of their very broad service offering to a very broad audience. And, it's in this market whereby there's a lot of saturation at the minute. There's a lot of people coming out, especially a lot of coaches that are coming out, that if you're having a very generic service offering, or you're not going to get many hands raised. So, marketing to everyone is effectively marketing to no one. So, identifying your ideal customer. So this is really where you need to start. And I also put I put here almost fanatical level of understanding. I think it takes that level of understanding of that person as if you were in the same room with that person, and understand kind of their pain points, that point A of where their starting point is. Because you really have to understand kind of where they're coming from, what is keeping them up at night, what is that thing that they really want solved. And that takes a depth. It's not just at a demographic level, kind of not sort of at the level of, a demographic or an age range or a particular challenge that have. It's more kind of at the psychological level, at the sort of several levels deeper, to kind of understand the drivers behind that pain point, kind of where they are. A lot of coaches on this call probably have intimate knowledge of their clients, because they're a former, they've probably experienced the same pain points as the person they're trying to serve. So it's really understanding the pain points, that point A, and then the desired point, that point B, that life-changing desired point that they want to be. And it has to be life-changing. It's not sort of, something that is maybe, maybe have. The desires have to be life-changing. If you're in that, we'll talk about high-ticket offer, kind of an offer that is so desirable that people say, yes, that's exactly what I need. And then that sort of gets over a lot of the money objections, a lot of the objections that they have inside them of kind of taking action. So you want to think about that desired point B that they really want to be. And then to bridge the gap, going from A to B, is your service offering, the pillars of your program. And we'll talk about kind of what that is, but that bridge, that you are that bridge to getting that desired outcome. And then, once we understand kind of who that person is and where, and the bridge that you're going to help them to get that desired outcome is where do they hang out? So you hang, on Facebook, that is usually in Facebook groups. And but I'll talk about kind of what Facebook groups kind of is, because a lot of Facebook groups are a lot saturated with people actually looking for people now, and you've got to be more creative in this environment of kind of actually finding those people and finding more gated groups. And I find maybe even kind of paying for maybe a low ticket price to get access to people who have high intent. I call them high intent people, whereby they've actually parted with maybe a low ticket or some money to actually get into your group that maybe you want to be associated with. You want to get in there and actually add people that befriend, build relationships with those people. So it is more important is actually finding that audience with that particular person you want to serve. So next slide is, this is kind of, we're moving on to offer, Chris. So once you've got clear on who you want to serve, level that differentiates you in the market, it helps you kind of in terms of, okay, you've got that specificity about who you want to serve, and then you've got an offer, and then the offer is crucial. And not enough people understand what a good offer is, and what an offer is can take a lot of the heavy lifting of the sales process. If you have an offer that is so attractive and when you're putting it, that you don't have to be kind of pushy in sales. You don't have to kind of push people or the offer should speak for itself. It should be speaking to that person you want to serve. And the value of that offer should be a no-brainer. So that's what Alex has said in his book, $100 Million Offers, which I would recommend anybody read, is, you know, make an offer so good they would feel stupid saying no. So that is the point that your offer should be. It shouldn't be a mediocre offer. As I say, if you're a coach, you're in the transformation business. You're trying to get an outcome for your client that is, you know, life-changing. They're going to pay. They'll see the value and willing to sort of pay a high ticket price for that. So then let's just talk about kind of what a price offer is. So, you know, this is, you know, going back to maybe what a lot of people are doing in the market, who they look at the market, see what everybody else is pricing, take an average of that, go slightly below that to remain competitive in some way, then provide what the competitor offers with a little bit more, maybe add a wee bit more, and they end up with a value proposition of more for less. So basically, if the market changes, you can find yourself uncompetitive and be out of business. So that is nowhere that I see people kind of have hourly rates or very low ticket value for the value they're providing because they don't see the value in it. They're just looking at everybody else and saying, I can't possibly charge more than that. So this is where the offer creation comes in and the value of kind of creating a value-based offer. So I'm just talking, this is a price-based offer. So you want to get away from just seeing your offer in terms of price, but see it in terms of value. So we'll talk a bit more about that. So creating your high ticket offer. So it's about unpacking your offer. Basically, kind of you know that you've got, you know, it's that bridge that we talked about going from A to B, the pillars of your program. Don't be a kind of like have about six, you know, a lot of pillars. Kind of you have to explain this to your potential clients. So I would say no more than 3 or 4 pillars of your program. Kind of condense that in terms of what and they're hitting pain points that your client is dealing with. So have a clear outcome, not features and benefits. Features and benefits is not people are not moved by features and benefits. People are moved by having a life-changing outcome, the result that they want, that their life is going to be so much different and better by the transformation that you're going to give them through your coaching service. So as I say, program pillars, link to solving a pain point. Right? So when they can self-identify when you're explaining your program that each of these pillars actually solve a particular pain point. They're not just arbitrary, they're actually linked to something that they're dealing with that you can sort of they can identify with. Then support, whereby, you know, that you want to make it as attractive as possible. People, you know, they like to have support. You know, it's not just, you're not just throwing a course and say, you know, consume a course. You're a coach, you're helping people and guiding people to kind of a new reality. So you have to provide that support. You know, that support could be through Messenger, it could be a dedicated group or whatever, but it's so important that they feel supported through that journey that you're helping them with. And then bonus, kind of, you know, it's, you know, the people think that, you know, you go that, and then by the way, I have bonus software or bonus you know, additional resources. Now Jane's on this call and we've talked, she has the additional resources that she's bringing to her offer to make it more attractive to kind of people that they're going to help that person that she has, you know, get a better outcome. So think about bonuses in your offer that you can add to it that can be provide a more attractive, because people's, you know, when you were going through your offer, you know, when you actually say, well, bonus 1, or bonus 2, bonus 3, you kind of, the stacking of the value. People say, my God, that there's so much value here that I'm providing. So don't underestimate kind of the value of putting bonuses within your offer. And then, price, so if you're stacking all the value and all of that, then you just have a price. So that high ticket price. Now, there's different ways you can sort of high ticket price. You can put just a lump sum kind of at one price, or you can do it as over a period of time. If you've got a 12-week program, weekly, monthly payment structure. So if you've done your presentation well, and the value speaks for itself, and you put your price, then people sort of see, well, I'm getting all of this value, and this is the price I'm paying for it. So they kind of say, well, then they're more likely to take action. If they don't see the value, and you put a price of like some $5,000 or whatever, you're not going to get that same take up on your offer. So I just be more creative around your price. I'm more in terms of actually doing weekly payments now. So if you have a 12-week program, and you're giving all of this value, and say, oh, it's only going to cost you $200 a week, which is like, $50, $25 a day or whatever. It's not even a lunch. So you're getting all this value for such a low ticket price, but it's the same price over the 12 weeks as the same high ticket. So be more creative in terms of what the price structure, so you get people to take action. And then genuine scarcity. People you want to get people moved on the call. You don't want to be going through this and presenting your offer and then, say, well, for this particular, offer, I'm only taking, 3 people because I want to be working, intimately with people I want to kind of serve and get that life-changing outcome. So kind of having genuine scarcity, that they think they're special in getting this particular deal, and limited numbers is very, very good for that sort of thing. And also guarantee, the guarantees are a funny thing. If like there's conditional and unconditional guarantees, different, you might give a guarantee for a certain outcome. But obviously that depends on the person actually putting the work in. So I'll just leave guarantees. Guarantees actually a powerful driver as well. But maybe in the coaching space, there's a lot of whereby you're the guide to kind of helping someone. So a lot of the work is done by by the person you're serving. But guarantees are. I personally don't use guarantees, but I know people who do that. Space. Dismiss all this. Okay. So next one is meeting where your customers are. So it's very important, that that is sort of saying product. It's kind of product market fit, whereby you're meeting your customer at the right time with the right offer, and to get the right result. So it's you're actually having this is more leading in terms of the content messenger strategy further down, but at the start, you've got an offer and you're talking to the right people who actually want it. There's a lot of people putting out stuff that actually is falling on deaf ears because they're not meeting their customer where they're at. They're either pitching it too high or too low, or they're not seeing the value in it. So there has to be fit in terms of what your services are, to kind of have that. So meeting your customer is very important. Okay, so we're moving on to Facebook. So we kind of got into kind of who we're serving, and kind of getting deep with that person, that bridge that you're going to go from A to B, and that services that your offer, the pillars, and all of the value that you're going to provide with your offer is, okay, how do we translate all of that online? So we're kind of doing all of that work offline and kind of moving it online. So, and if we're starting with one platform and starting kind of at your Facebook profile level. Now, this Facebook group is a good thing to develop as well, because that will take over time. you know, of an organic strategy, you know, Facebook profile, although, you know, there's, over the years, Facebook has, you know, organic reach has gone down. But, you know, people will still, there's still, you know, billions of people looking at Facebook every day. You just need a small slice of that. And if you have if you're in touch with kind of who you want to serve and have engaging content, people will come back and search you out in your profile. But starting with your Facebook profile is, first of all, profile optimization. So, you know, make it public, not private. If you have an existing profile, you want to make it public, not private. Maybe you've had it for kind of family and friends. You want to make that public, maybe draw a line in the sand and saying, yep, I'm going to be using this to kind of present my an echo here. That's the profile is public and private. Marketing statement in your bio and banner. Now I'll talk about this later, but marketing statement about kind of it's just like a website. You know, if you think about a website, when you come to you've got a very small window in terms of, you know, is this something I'd be interested in, and you know, you want to capture that person who's coming to your Facebook profile. So you know, in your bio, which is basically that intro, having a statement. You know, there's various ones called I help statements, or, you know, you don't have to go down that road. Kind of, you know, something maybe matter of fact of just to sort of tell people that kind of, you know, what you do, and then something that explains that in your banner as well. And then moving into the content strategy. Once you're clear on who you're serving with an offer, the content strategy should be writing itself. You should have an idea in terms of the pillars of your program, the pain points that you want to solve, the problem and solution aware content, because that's what we're talking about in your content strategy. You're talking about problems that your ideal customers deal with and the solutions that you have for that person. So that should be your content strategy in the mix of that, in terms of, and I'll talk about this in terms of, I'm a big believer in stories, in terms of actually wrapping of your content around story, your story and other people's stories. And then moving them to authentic message, whereby you're having those more intimate conversations from your content, which is a one to many on your profile, to sort of one-to-one of your messenger conversation. You're moving them on maybe a lead magnet away, or a mastermind that you're running, or something that, and you've got people to raise their hand, and you're moving them on to, you know, into your group. I would more people into your group, because in your group you can nurture them more. So any of your masterminds or kind of that, I would directly hold them all into in your group. So it's kind of having those authentic messenger conversations, and then, you know, through that, you know, booking calls. You know, you can use messenger conversations and say, get them to open up a particular pain point. They have maybe consumed other content, and booking calls at that point. And we talk about that sales process of booking calls in my next webinar. But basically, we'll touch on it on messenger conversations later on, and then present your offer. And then, you know, on a call, present your offer. And then the offer is to make as many sales you make. It's not that complicated. So just to give you an idea of sort of profile optimization, this is a guy I keep on going back to, because sort of I think he's probably one of the better profile optimization ones. He's Chad Sievers is this guy. He's in weight loss for women. He's very I just moved that out of the road. It's very clear from when I'm coming to Chad's profile, I know exactly how he's going, who his ideal audience is. I know exactly how he's going to help me, and I've got an idea in terms of what he wants me to do next. So he says the corporate women's solution to dropping dress sizes without dreadful anxiety and endless exercise. Click here to discover what's keeping you stuck. So he's been clear in terms of what that is. And then he's got some social proof in his intro. Helped over 130-person corporate women lose 20 pounds. And then he has a particular method, the RFP method. So he's building some curiosity around what that type of method is. If you're a woman who kind of who wants that, you know, you would want to, you know, be intrigued to find out what that method is. And he is given an option to join his group, assume his group to kind of want to find out more. So I think that's it's a very good profile and something that's clear, and there's no ambiguity with it. And if you look, I would ideally sort of look up Chad Severs, have a look at his profile and his content. So you'll see it's all aligned to that messaging.
Excuse me, Mike.
Yeah.
I think you might want to mute Sally because that's I think she's the one.
All right.
What do you call this? Making that echo sound.
Yeah. Thanks, man. All
right.
All right. So that is Chad. Now this is another guy, Cameron. Who actually I know Cameron. Actually, he's in the dating niche, and he's actually very young for a dating coach, but he's they'd say he's very, you know, learn how to attract and keep your ideal girlfriend in 8 weeks as a professional without sacrificing your career or being inauthentic. So again, it's very clear in terms of who he wants to hang. It's got a time frame in 8 weeks. He knows who he wants to serve as a professional without sacrifice and kind of without sacrificing your career or being inauthentic. So he's targeting a particular person and you know what, and a particular value that those people have without being inauthentic. So again, it's clear and if you read his content, it's all aligned to that, because once you have the alignment in terms of your statement, whatever, you know, the content should all be aligned with that as well. You know, that there shouldn't be any mismatch with that. This is another one which actually I've gone from. There's two sides of this question in terms of, obviously this is another guy who's actually one of my coaches, Omar, kind of, and he's in the organic marketing. He was you know, in the marketing and sales side of things, and he's been testing both just a plain, you know, photograph of himself, you know, relaxing by the pool, kind of in that, because a lot of people are kind of having banners, you know, you've probably seen so many kind of banners to kind of get 6 figures in 90 days or whatever. And it actually puts off people because they're just going to sell them. So you have to be maybe more creative in terms of what, sometimes it's actually testing a banner where it actually doesn't have anything on it at all. And saying if you're doing friend requests for people, that whether you would get more acceptance, because people think, you know, you're not going to, you know, automatically sell them. So there's two, it depends kind of what niche you're in terms of kind of, especially if you're in more more kind of marketing and sales. You look at my banner, for instance, you want to look at, I have changed mine to just a picture of me now. I haven't bothered. I'm not using any kind of promotional material or kind of anything like that on my banner. So I'm just trying to be natural in terms of who I am and kind of the people I want to serve. Okay. Content, the most important part, like that's all the easy stuff in terms of actually getting your profile optimized. It's actually the real meat is in your content and how you're going to use content in terms of to nurture and your audience and get your audience to take action. Because it's, you know, people are writing content for the sake of writing content. There's a reason why you're doing content. The reason you're doing content is to move people along the customer journey to kind of buy from you. You know, that this is a business. It's not, you know, it's not a, you're not a charity in terms of putting, a lot of people, I think, just putting out content for the sake of kind of, you know, as an echo chamber for themselves. You're putting out content to move people into a different state, a state that kind of they're having an emotional response or some kind of that they self-identify with that person that you're talking about in your content. So the content is transformational. I think all content should be transformational. So it's you're as a coach, you're in the transformational space automatically. So most of your content should be in the transformational, and obviously should be providing value in terms of demonstrating your authority of your subject matter. You know, with you want to build up, you know, that you saying back to meeting that person where you're at. You want to be meeting people where they're at and providing value to people. And your lifestyle, in terms of the lifestyle of, you know, it's about, they want to know a bit about yourself. You don't have to expose everything about yourself, but you want to be sort of opening the window or the door of kind of your own lifestyle, and kind of that you know you're someone approachable. You're not just this sort of robot putting out content. Sort of, it'll be open about kind of aspects of your life. And then obviously results are very important. You know, you're either doing testimonials, you're maybe doing interviews of people who you're working with, to, you know, demonstrate that you're getting that life-changing outcome that people want. And then vulnerability. Vulnerability for vulnerability's sake is not using vulnerability and then changing that into something that you've overcome and now are a better person for, is a much better structure in terms of your content. But vulnerability is a great thing in terms of the attraction people have to you, because then they self-identify with something you're dealing with. I know Jane has been doing that in terms of some of her content recently. So it's about opening up, you know, something about you that relates to your services, and that you can kind of people can self-identify, and you know, but as well as that you've moved past that part of your life, and you know there's a better way ahead, you know, not just doing vulnerability just for vulnerability. And then belief shifting, whereby, you know, some of your audience have got misplaced beliefs about where they're at the minute, you know, limiting beliefs kind of, and you want to be breaking those beliefs down with sort of belief shifting content, of moving them, and then, you know, through your own story to a new belief that a new outcome, and that outcome, you know, has helped them on, you know, helped them onto a new direction, and then you're putting like a call to action at the end of that belief shifting, to sort of have, if you want something like I did in terms of hey, I'm running a workshop, I have this free training over in my group, I am doing this. So, you know, the people, you're taking them on a journey, kind of what they thought is keeping them back, a story that it isn't true, new belief, and then this outcome because of this new belief. And then, you know, say if you want more of that, happy to have a chat, or happy to have, you know, move them into, you know, into a call. And then lead generation, that sort of speaks for itself. So all of lead generation is probably the most, you know, a lot of this content you're going to be putting out, you may be getting comments and likes and whatever about all of these metrics, which actually don't really mean that much. A lot of people are watching your content are not saying a lot. They're the silent majority that are actually consuming your content, but actually just not engaging with it. So don't fall in the trap. Oh, I'm not getting any comments, I'm not getting likes. People are consuming your content, but they're, you know, on, you know, majority of without doing anything. I go through my feed and kind of read a lot of things. I don't engage with it. I might put a comment with it, or I might put a like, but a lot of people will not engage with that. Doesn't mean they're not reading your content. So the one thing that you do want people to engage with is your lead generation content. You want people, when you're asking people to take action on something, you want some hands raised. So you're asking people on a direct offer call, or, you know, hey, I'm looking for 3 people, you know, for my my next offer. and then asking people direct questions and then getting them to answer in the comments below if they're interested to move, if they want to have a discussion with you. Or, we've got a lead magnet or training or master class. You want people to sort of reply in the comments below to kind of get those hands raised. So you're doing the work beforehand, before the lead generation. If you're doing too much lead generation, you're not going to get many hands because you haven't nurtured your audience for it. So all of these other forms of content, transformational value, lifestyle, results, you're building that overall know, like, and trust with your audience. And then if you're asking people, hey, I'm running this masterclass on mindset for, over my group, love to see you there. In terms of that, only taking 5 people, and then, people have been consuming your content, you're more than likely to get some hands raised. And also kind of use stories in your content. So all of these, think about stories that you can use. Think about your own story, client stories. Think about stories in your day that you can wrap around different aspects of problems and problems that your client is going through and the solutions that you have. Okay, story-based model. So this is, it's a model actually done by one guy I've worked with, is a guy called Manny Wolf. Check him out, he's online. But this is sort of a story-based model he came up with, which is a very powerful. It's, there's a lot of stories online, and you've probably seen them. It's kind of, I was broke on my I was down and out and kind of that, and now I'm, a 6-figure entrepreneur. It's like there's a lot of that around, and I'm not saying that isn't valuable to read and consume, but I think it's not really moving. It doesn't, a lot of people are doing a lot. It's not really moving. Well, it certainly doesn't move for me in terms of that where I am. And this model here, I think, is a much more powerful model. And I know Jane is using some of this at the minute. Is find out your pinnacle story, that epiphany moment, that story that you had that changed everything for you. So it's kind of, we're going from the pinnacle, the PS here, that has been life-changing for you. That epiphany that you had, that you were, that this didn't go on. You were going through a really hard, some event in your life that has changed the course, and that's the pinnacle story for you. Describing that, and then putting some back history story. These are 1, 2, 3, possibly 3 stories that demonstrate in terms of leading up to that pinnacle story. And then you revisit, and then going back to your pinnacle story and say the pinnacle story, but it's a new twist to that pinnacle story. Then that event that you were going through, kind of that, but you used that. It was actually it was a gift in terms of moving in a direction that you're currently on, in terms of you wanted to serve that particular person, that trauma that you're going through. Actually, it propelled you into a new direction whereby you wanted, whether you went back and learned, wanted to be a life coach, wanted to be a mindset coach, wanted to be, whatever coach, that helped you move on a different direction. And then the 1, 2, or you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the hero's journey. So you're actually putting your hero, you're actually demonstrating the hero's journey in terms of that. Once you find out that this is what you want to do, you're doing hero's journey in terms of content, the trials and the highs and lows of your journey to kind of get to, at the bottom, the BT, the breakthrough and the lessons learned. The breakthrough of, I've finally arrived. Kind of, I don't think anybody finally arrives, but the breakthrough of you're actually, you're serving, you're getting results for your clients. You're getting that feedback, and then the lessons learned from that. You can go from that whole question mark in terms of what have I learned from during all of my journey, my coaching journey, from my pinnacle story and backstory, the epiphany moments I had, the hero's journey that I got, went through in terms of, the triumphs, the lows and the triumphs that I went through. So this is, once you put that as a whole framework for your content, it's a powerful mix. Because imagine if you were describing your life, or kind of the way you in terms of that, what would people react to you in terms of that? There would be massively attraction in terms of, you would attract a lot of people, wanted to know more about your story, the journey of how you got to where you are now. And that is huge in terms of getting people to raise their hands on your offers, getting move people onto calls, booking calls, and getting sales for your business. So this is a powerful story-based model that I encourage you to using stories within your content, and using your own stories or your client stories to sort of move people to take action. Okay, next. So this is more content strategy. Now that's a story-based model. Now what does this look into? This is a bit of, this is actually one of my mentors, actually Blake Fontana. So this is just kind of random in terms of what it would look like, in terms of, there's a lifestyle story in terms of he was at a wedding, when he was the best man at his wedding. And then there's another one in the middle there. And he's using a story, find your golden purpose. And like, it's 2015, I'm standing inside a PAX at Lewis conference room as a 19-year-old kid at college, my first ever marketing event. So he's weaving a story into kind of where he started from in terms of his coaching journey. So it's intriguing. People want to read that rather than the 3 tips to explode your sales or whatever. That's not going to move anybody, but your story in terms of how you started, how you become the person you are, is much more readable and much more identifiable. And then that's more the long form in terms of your story. Short form is, again, new free training video, how to predictably land clients every month. That's like, whereby, hashtag me. So he's asking people to do action below. So that's the short form in terms of you're building up rapport with all of that different type of content, that story-based content. And then at that point, you kind of having an action, a call to action post. Hey, I'm running this free training, how to do this here, hashtag me. And then, you outreach to those people with that, maybe run that training in your group. And then, there's the bottom one there. Problem isn't usually the real problem. Response to the problem is always the real. So it's kind of using, maybe calling people out on aspects of, misplaced beliefs that they have. That's more a short form post. So that's just a selection in terms of what Blake is using for different type of content. So it's not the same type of content. It's kind of mixing it up: long form, short form, story, value, transformation, belief shifting, the kind of overall picture that people want to consume. You want to consume, and then getting their hands raised at periodically times with take action. Oh, there we go. So messenger conversations. So again, this is still in the marketing piece. So kind of have marketing, getting clear to who you're serving, offer, content, range of content, getting people to raise hands. Okay, that's from the one to many scenario. So the messenger conversation is 1-to-1. So you're moving people on to those more intimate conversations to kind of get them to book a call with you. So messenger conversation is, God's sake, be human. Don't come across a robot, and for God's sake, don't start spamming people with joining groups or whatever straight away, because that is never working, or it's going straight to kind of an offer. It's just the wrong thing to do. being curious about, them, being curiosity is a huge thing. Being curious about where they are at the minute. What's their journey like? What's holding them back? I'd love to know more about that piece of content that you use. Look at their content so you can have a leverage to be curious about something they're saying. You get much more response to that. And lead with value. Always kind of, I happen to look at this piece at your post on this. This was something I was dealing with as well. And this is how I dealt with it. Lead with value on when you're having those conversations. Also, don't pitch, I don't pitch in Messenger. It's especially it's just not the thing to do. Messenger is about booking calls. It's not a way of kind of just pitching your services. That's later down the line. It's too early in the customer journey to actually start pitching. I know some people say no, they can pitch in Messenger and they can close people in Messenger. Yeah, great. If you've built up maybe a solid content library, a brand, like a very strong brand or whatever, maybe you can pitch in Messenger. But for people who are starting out, whatever, I would advise you not to pitch in Messenger. And then triage questions. Now you can delve deep in terms of where they are, where they want to go, what's holding them back, depending on the market sophistication. On some markets, people are, when you start asking a ream of questions with people, they automatically they can see you're trying to sell them, or their back is up. So I don't try and kind of be invasive with kind of questioning in Messenger. I'd rather do that personally on a call. So you're just maybe just opening the door by a particular pain point they're dealing with. The kind of, hey, I think I can help you, being curious. Let's get on a call. I'd love to give you value on what I think is holding you back. People are more open to kind of that in terms of transitioning to the call. Okay, next, just an example, just on this in Messenger. Hi Victoria, just thought I'd reach out and thank you for engaging my content. It's always good to know it resonates. So I'm complimenting on someone that's actually loved my content. So it's a good way of people who engage my content, know are very valuable. So she automatically, she finds my content valuable. That's why content is so important. Is you're building up that know, like, and trust, and then we're having back and forward. And then, I find out, she's an Australian, and same as me, but it's passive, blah, blah, blah. And then I've gone on, high ticket products, nice. And what has been good. So it's a various conversation that's gone back and forward. And at certain point within that conversation, I had said, I'd love to, I give them a reason to get on the call. So I found some aspect of her content wasn't working. And I said, I'd love to give you value on I think I could help you with a certain aspect. Love to get on a short pitch-free call to sort of talk about that further. Would you be interested in that? And, leading with empathy, leading with kind of coming from the right place. Most people will say yes. If you're coming from the right place, most people will say yes. This is another one. This is Nicole. She actually was a former client of mine. So she was accepting a friend request, kind of that, no problem. Enjoy, appreciate your feedback. She's enjoying my content. And then I actually used a leverage of her profile. I kind of said, hey, I looked at your profile, I kind of give it, perhaps I give it value. And then I did a video of something that I said benefit for them. So how many people are going out of their way to do a video for someone to say, hey, I think I could help if you did X, Y, and Z on your profile, I think you would get much more engagement. And I've just done a video to show you that. Do you think many people would sort of say, God, this guy's gone out, this is tremendous in terms of that. So if you did something like that, you think how many people would actually want to know more about how you could help them or get on their call? So this was the case with Nicole. So think about creative ways you can actually add value when you're having discussions with someone like that. All right, so that's more that's more kind of the marketing side. So I've sort of talked about kind of, you know, the getting clear who you're serving, how you're going to help them, and the pillars of your program and the value stack, not price based. As well as the content strategy, getting a very overall rounded view of content with a strong story bias and your own story and the journey of your own story linked to your offer, linked to kind of the problems and solutions that you're solving. And then moving on to Messenger, again, having those more intimate conversations, not coming across salesy there as genuinely helping with the right intention. And then, you know, pivoting to the call, booking that call. So this is just I'll be going more deep in the next webinar in terms of 2 weeks time on the sales process and kind of how to come across the right way on calls, and you're presenting your offer unapologetically, and, you know, getting all of that value across to someone that sort of say, yeah, this is exactly what I need. And then getting more yeses than nos. So this is possibly, you know, part 2, kind of no surprises, qualified people. So there's a way of, you know, qualifying people before you get on a call. About talking about kind of, you know, video and how you can use video strategically before the call on your services, and people consume that to kind of have, when people say, hey, did you watch that video? There's a big, and you're actually how they're more pre-framed what your services are. So using no surprises for that. And 2-step process, talk about focus on discovery calls. It's more like it's basically a short 15-minute focus call. Basically that triage call, you're not doing it in Messenger, you're doing it actually on a call in terms of where they are, where they want to go, what's challenging, what have they done, hasn't worked, why isn't it working, why do you want it, you know, where do you see yourself, you know, in 3-6 months, you know, if this isn't solved. You know, you want to dig deep in terms of the pain points they have and how, and then problem educate them on the call. Don't try and solve it on a 15, because you won't have, you know, give them some value, problem educate, and then say lead them on to other call, discovery call, that you can go much deeper on that in terms of the solution they need. So don't try and solve it on the 15. The 15 is there to find out if they're a good fit, give them some problem, give them some education about what they think the problem is, but don't try to solve it. Discovery call or the sales call is where you demonstrate that you have the solution they're looking for. And then present your offer unapologetically, handle objections if needed. So I would say, but if you're getting a lot of objections on a sales call, you haven't done the work beforehand, because you've got the wrong people coming on the call. So you have sort of gates or something before you're getting. Don't be booking, wasting time with people who patently are not in the right mindset, financial thermostat. They don't have the right, mentality to kind of have those conversations. So if you're handling objections, there might be objections on, usually it's around, money, time, partner, those type of things. But you shouldn't be having multitude of objections on calls. You just have doing the work beforehand, making sure you're getting the right people. Then, most important, take payment on the call. When you take payment, you want to have that people are in a high emotional state. They want to sort of see they're excited about it. You're excited for them to kind of have that life-changing aspect. They want take payment on the call. Have a link ready. Have it kind of ready to sort of have it so that they. Hey, I'd love to kind of get you on board. Hey, I've just got a few things to tidy away. I'm just going to send over a link. Put the link just casual. Don't over stress it. Send them a link, and then plan next steps. Plan next steps on the call. Don't just leave the call and they're just left. And that. Plan the next steps. Hey, I'll just set up a meeting the next week or so about kind of what plan or blueprint I'm going to do for the next 12 weeks of my course. But I'd love to I've got this questionnaire. I'd love you to fill it out in. It just helps me with making sure that blueprint is we're hitting the ground running. So plan the next steps on the call so they feel as if they're getting properly inducted into your course. So I think that's it. Summary. Okay. So summary, get clear on who you're serving. Absolutely. Number one thing is a lot of people just are not clear on who they're serving. They're just throwing spaghetti against the wall, hoping it's going to stick. And then having a compelling high ticket offer. So as I say, the value stack, the value of the offer is it's meet people where they're at, and it should be as attractive as possible when you're presenting. And again, we'll talk about that on the next webinar. We'll talk about sales and how you present that. Optimize your profile, make sure it's nice looking banner, people understand what you're all about, and post impactful content, say that range of content that you want to have, and then have authentic conversations. You're moving people to those more intimate conversations. You have the right intention, that you have been curious about them in terms of what's holding them back, and then adding value, and then getting booking calls, and then conducting those non-salesy sales calls, which we'll go deeper on the next webinar. So that's basically it. That's the whole organic journey in terms of your most direct route you can get high ticket clients. There's no other way I know on one platform, one offer to one audience of going in straight way. Obviously, once you get bigger, you've got people coming in, you can your group maybe more the profile rather than your profile would be a group, would be the engine of your business. And then from the group, you can go to other platforms as well after that, which is a whole different presentation. Okay, so I think that's it. So that is it. Let's say 2 weeks time, there'll be that past one in terms of part 2 of the sales call, in terms of all about that. But more importantly, on the 17th of April is the whole challenge. All of what you see here, in terms of we're going deep on each day, we'll be going each part of that to make sure kind of the who is right, the offer is right, the content is right, the messenger strategy is right, and the sales is right. So each of that I'll be going kind of deep on that with homework for the people who are attending, to make that I want people at the end of that to get best position to get high ticket clients or get high ticket clients at the end of that. So I will leave a link below this webinar to the challenge. I'd love to see you guys who are on this live or watching on replay to kind of sign up, because I've never done this challenge before. I'm really excited to do it. But as I say, there'll be one more webinar on the sales process in 2 weeks' time. And the challenge will be, I think, on the 17th of April, I think that following Monday, for that full 5 days. So any questions from anybody? Anything I've said? Anybody don't understand anything? Just let me know.
Michael.
Yep.
Yeah, I just like to ask. So usually most of your clients have this short-term or immediate results with regards to their services, right?
Well, it takes time. This is organic. This takes time. This is sort of like
Yeah.
you're building up an engine. But if you've got the foundations right, and I'm taking the who and the offer.
No. What I was asking is because the one that I'm offering to clients right now is
Yeah.
of course top level strategy making or strategic management, and this is a lot longer, or it also takes time. So this approach applies to that one as well.
It applies to everything. You're building a brand. This is you. This is your person. This is your personal brand. You're building up. You're building up that problem solution aware content that you're the go-to person for that solution they want. You're building this. Say this is the early days. I'm just talking about the profile here, but you'll be that content will be replicated in your group and other platforms but this is sort of the basics of going from, you know, one offer to one person on one platform to get the first 3 to 4 high ticket sales. But then, you know, you can replicate that at scale in your group, you know, having more content, bringing more people into your group. It becomes the engine of your business because you're getting leads into your group. You're nurturing those people and then booking calls with those people. And then you got virtual assistants who are helping you to book those calls. So that becomes the engine. You're continually kind of bringing in leads, booking calls, making offers, making sales. So this is sort of the first run in terms of getting some sales in, but you can replicate that into groups and other platforms later on.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks.
Any other questions? Rex, anything from you? Alexia? Any Johannes? Anybody?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, excellent, no worries. Jane, anything from you? You know all of this stuff already.
Yeah, no, this is just adding to what we're going through. So it's good, actually. It's like a good refresher for me. So yeah, nothing new at the moment, other than it's just, you know, I just pick up bits I've missed before. So that's been very valuable. Thank you.
Okay. Chris, anything from you? No. Okay, no worries. All right. Well, if that's
No, sir, I'm good.
good, thanks, Chris. No problem. All right. If there's no more calls, I'll call it there. And let's say link below for the challenge in terms of love to see you there in terms of that. Let's say this is a webinar. It's not sort of in depth. In the challenge, are we going in, you know, much more deeper on these things. So love to see you in the challenge. But in any case, we'll be talking about sales in 2 weeks on that last bit, because you're not going to be making any sales if your sales suck. So kind of having a good sales strategy is essential. It's sort of the other side of the coin of marketing and sales. So you've got to get that right. But thanks for your attention. Thanks for the opportunity to present it. And I wish you good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Or early for you, Rex. Very early for you. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.